All right. Well, yeah. Let's start off with one of the movies for the review tonight, and let's start off with Rocky.
Let's do it.
If we're gonna do chronological order, that'd be where to start. All right. So quick synopsis for y'all. Yeah. All right. Okay. Rocky Balboa, a small-time boxer from working class Philadelphia, is arbitrarily chosen to take on a reigning world heavyweight champion, Apollo Creed, when the undefeated fighter's scheduled opponent is injured. While training with feisty former bantamweight contender Mickey Goodmill, Rocky tentatively begins a relationship with Adrian, the wallflower sister of his meatpacker pal Paulie.
Yeah. So I love the Rocky series, all of them. All even Rocky 5. Yeah. uh, as shitty as Rocky 5 is, I still love it. Um, Even what was it, Rocky Balboa? It was technically Rocky 6. Why they didn't name it Rocky 6, I have no idea, but I like that one too. But the original Rocky, which was what came out in '76, I believe.
Yeah,
It's late
76.
'70s. Yeah, '76. The reason I love this one so much is because of all of the Rocky films, it's the most pure part. Because this was Sylvester Stallone's. It was almost like his own personal story. It was his soul that was poured out into the screenplay, because he is the writer of Rocky, and obviously it's a star as well. Um, but it's just it's such a great story, and you have a guy that essentially is a nobody, kind of a little bit of a thug, if you will, because he's kind of doing some collection for a low level mob boss in Philadelphia, and yeah, he does a little bit of boxing on the side, and uh, you know it's a guy that it wasn't about necessarily winning a heavyweight title, because it was that it was kind of dumb luck that he even got that chance. Uh, and when he did get the chance, so his goal wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna win. It was all about like his goal was just going the distance and showing that he did belong there. And because unlike a lot of these other sports films or that have come on after Rocky, it wasn't Rocky didn't win that fight.
Right.
It didn't come out with him as the champ. But it was him going toe to toe with Apollo Creed, and although he didn't win, it's like, and he's getting mobbed by the reporters and all that stuff. And he's like, I don't care about all this stuff. All he cared about was that he went to the distance and that he wanted to celebrate that fact with Adrian, which was his girlfriend. And I don't know, I love that about the film.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with you that the first Rocky is very pure. Before like the studios really got their grubby little fingers on it, and kind of injected it with more like bigger budget, and um, kind of the polish that comes with that, or the polish that came with the later installments of the Rocky franchise. Um, but yeah, so for the same reasons that you mentioned, I enjoyed it as well.
But where because now unlike a lot of the cinematic archaeology that comes from the Rocky series, comes from from the later installments. Really, I can't really think of many like scenes that have been used from the original Rocky and like parodied and used in other things. I mean, maybe outside of like some of the theme songs, like the da 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 da, or or him doing the run up to what was it, the Philadelphia courthouse?
The
And then,
like the art museum. It was the art museum
yeah, it was the art
in
museum, yeah.
Philadelphia. Yeah, Philadelphia Art Museum.
And it's like he does kind of the pumps his fist once he uh reaches the end of that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I think they had a statue of Sylvester Stallone there for a little while.
Right. Well,
The only
yeah,
thing
for Rocky 3, they introduced a statue, and then I think after filming, the city of Philadelphia, bought
kept
it
it
or
for a long
something,
time.
and then themselves installed it somewhere on the grounds of the museum, the Museum of Art.
The only thing I can remember now, I don't know if this is what he was attempting to do, but the only time I remember, like that kind of kind of pumping in your fist like that. I remember there was a time where Yasiel Puig from the Dodgers he had like a walk-off home run or a really big home run in a game,
Mm-hmm.
and just went boom, just like not he did the Rocky,
Mm-hmm.
because he knew it was gone. Everyone in the stadium did. It's so there was like one of those moments, but outside of that, because I know that run that Rocky does in that film is a lot of people. I think there's like I want to say like there's a yearly run that people do, like kind of they do that run.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
The what is it? When he's running through the street market, and he's like, and like the vendors are like tossing him fruit and stuff. It's like, yeah, you go rock
yeah,
and stuff like that. Yeah, I
go
wouldn't be surprised.
Rocky.
I think the only other, I guess, the cinematic archaeology in this is definitely the workout montage scene. Uh,
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true.
yeah, because there's the one where like early in the morning he cracks eggs into a glass and just chugs it. There's a lot of there. I mean, even TV shows. The one most prominent in my mind right now is Fresh Prince of Bel Air, which the character also is from Philadelphia, and in one of the seasons he goes, the character Will goes back to face one of his bullies, and like he starts training like Rocky style, and then like they do a scene where like he chugs raw eggs and then like immediately splits it back out because it's gross. Um, and
It
then
is.
yeah, and then yeah, and then yeah, and in Fresh Prince they do like an entire parody of like the whole training montage where like Will like runs down that same street where the fruit vendors or whatever are, and like someone tosses him one, and then all of a sudden they all like start throwing fruit at him because he is kind of viewed as a coward um, by the
Right.
locals. Um, the other scene that I believe I have seen in other films, or at least one other film, is the cut scene where during the fight with Apollo Creed, his eyes get one of his eyes gets swollen over because it's all bruised up, and it's like, oh, you gotta cut me, I can't see anything, you gotta cut me, and then they cut the welt and allow the blood to drain. And a similar scene that happens is in Zoolander when they have the walk off, and Hansel's like, I can't see up there. He's like, you gotta cut me. And then like his corner guy, he like cuts his eyelashes, and he's like, he like winces in pain. He's like, ah!
Yeah, that's right. It's over, Rock. I know it's over. Just give me something to drink.
Oh
you know,
yeah, yeah,
um, but no, I just really like. I love this film. It's the characters have like their flaws. I mean, you have Paulie, who's just he's a drunk. You
Yeah, it's
have
weird because
Adrian, who's
Polly was probably the most unlikable character in that movie.
oh yeah, he's awful.
Yeah. Just
Um,
like the way he's like, trying to, he keeps pestering Rock to introduce him to like that loan shark guy because he's unsatisfied with his, his meatpacking job and how like, he's, he, and then when Rocky gets the chance to fight Apollo Creed, he's asked, keeps like asking him for a job, and then, the way he treats his sister is just, Polly's like the
really
most
just
unlikable person in that entire movie.
he's just like I said, it's a lot of it has to do with his alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's I think it's like he's a former I think he was a sailor. It looks like from his picture that he had on there. Like I think he was probably in like the that I would maybe because he's probably what like his probably in like his 40s or something like that by then. Um, but yeah, he's just a drunken jerk. Uh, treats his sister like crap,
Mm-hmm.
and even at like the end, like when uh, Rocky's going up to he's at the ring, and the way that Polly is dressed because he was able to give Polly some like advertising money for like he had the meatpacking advertisement
Right,
on
right,
his
right, right.
overcoat, and he gave all that money to Polly, and he dresses like a just like a jerk. He's
Like a
got that
fat,
like giant scar.
like kind of like a pimp, but a
Yeah,
little
it's
less
like it's not even
flamboyant.
that. It's just like he was like he just put on whatever he thought like looked in his mind like looked classy, like what big shots wear. And it's
Oh,
like I
right,
got
right,
my
right,
big
right, right.
cigar and like I got my zoot suit and man, I'm
Yeah,
real cool.
yeah. He got
Um,
like he got like a hooker on his arm or whatever.
yeah. Um, but yeah, then you also have Adrian, who's just like really probably the reason why she's probably so quiet and shy is because of how badly like she's the quieter that she is like she's probably at least definitely verbally abused by Polly. So
Mm-hmm.
the quieter that she is, she doesn't get noticed as much. So it's a lot less. It caused her to be a lot less a lot less trouble at home. And so, you have Rocky who's always running, hey, yo, Adrian, he's kind of doing his thing. And
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the things I like most about Rocky. Uh, he was persistent. Um, even with Adrian, he's every day he would go into that pet shop that she was working at, and even though she really didn't give him no never mind. Um, he just constantly was spitting game at her, and it's like trying to make her laugh and get her attention. It's just like yes, exactly. And I mean, I think that's and that's also kind of like translate to his attempt to become a contender and box and like and keep fighting those small match sort of things where he gets ripped off because in the opening scene he's boxing like another kind of low ranked fighter, and he wins and he gets $60, but then he gets nickel and dime for uh, the corner man, the locker, the towel service, and then all he gets is $40.
yeah, and the other thing too is with Rocky, he definitely has like a chip on his shoulder a lot, and sometimes it comes out like where it's people batter him, kind of talk shit about him, and he
Mm-hmm.
kind of he explodes sometimes in anger. Like he never like uh goes out and like hurts anybody,
Right, but
but
he
like
erupts. He erupts. He does erupt. Like when he,
yeah,
when him and the loan shark's driver kind of get into it back and forth. He kind of explodes on him. But I think the most
Same thing with Mickey,
powerful.
and he explodes on Mickey a little bit too.
Right, yeah, I was just about to get to that. I think that was the most powerful scene where he, because just prior Mickey had had his eruption at Rocky, talking about like, oh, the reason why I gave up on you because you gave up on yourself because you had the talent and you could have been a contender, but you threw it all away to be some like leg breaker for the mob or whatever, and then
And I think a lot of that also has to do with like, because I think Mickey, cares about, obviously boxing is his passion. And I think there's a lot of like, he was a former boxer, and I think there may have been like missed opportunities in his life too, because, it's like a lot of, he kept getting like overseen because, he didn't have like the right type of management, so he was never, so there was always boxers that were getting noticed and getting all the publicity over him.
mhm,
And so you see a lot of his like anger coming out too.
mhm.
And so, it's really like them, that scene where they kind of, where, Mickey explodes on him. And later on, Mickey comes in to like, kind of like, hey, let me help you. You have this
Right,
chance. Let me
but
help you like get
but
seen.
it did seem to me that Mickey was trying to more come at him like sideways, as opposed to like frontal assault. He was try to outflank, kind of outflank him, come into him at his side, be like, hey man, like I have experience, I could help you, as a as opposed to like coming to him like straight uh, straightforwardly and like, hey, I know I let you down, as um, but I want
And
to
I think
but I
that's
want
why
to help
Rocky
you. I
was
want
so
to
upset.
and I want to train you. But I
Well, that's
think
why Rocky was so upset.
right, yeah, and then that's when Rocky had his emotional outburst where it was very much like a father son thing where it's like you were never there for me, Dad, and it's like every single time I was around, but you were never there for me, and I think and again I think it goes to Stallone's writing where he was really putting himself into it, and I think it's it was definitely a story. It was definitely he definitely put like whatever issues he had with his own father into that relationship with between Rocky and Mickey.
Yeah, and I think obviously there was no like dialogue that we heard per se, but like you hear him still, even as Mickey is outside, you still hear Rocky just fucking yelling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then all as Mickey's almost down the street, Rocky comes like running after him, and it's we don't hear anything, but it's like Rocky knew he was wrong, and like I think he realized like what Mickey was trying to do, and it's like what, Mickey was right. Let's work together, and like it was kind of like they both needed each other because Mickey still, yeah, obviously, yeah, Mickey wanted to be famous. He couldn't do it as a boxer anymore, but Rocky is that boxer, and it's like them as a duo, they can make things happen, and yeah, it was like that. That to me, like that scene where Rocky explodes and at the end where they do reconcile, even though we don't hear anything. I was like, that's such a great scene.
Mm, absolutely. Um,
Is there anything else?
any thoughts on Apollo Creed's character?
I love Apollo Creed. He's that flamboyant, bombastic, showman. And the thing is, like and I think although it did bother Rocky a little bit, like I think he also knew this, like it was never anything personal that Apollo Creed was doing. Because Apollo knew it's like he's been in the business forever. It even said like before the start of he'd won 48 fights, no, and he hadn't lost. So in a lot of ways, he's and there's always that that picture of Rocky had that picture of Rocky Marciano, who is famous for growing. I think it was like 50-0
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And just a number of years ago, you had Floyd Mayweather match that I think maybe he surpassed it. Like he passed Rocky Marciano, where he 50 wins, no loss. He had no losses.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, Apollo's been at the boxing game for a long time, and so he was trying to obviously he's being selfish and wants to promote his fight. He wants everyone to make money, and he knew the kind of like playing up the whole idea. It's like, oh yeah, the Italian stallion, that's perfect. We'll go off that. Like we have the American, and it's all about like the American dream, and all in kind of just playing off all the stuff, all the heartstrings that people have, and the things that are going to get people to watch. And he was thinking it was more, maybe he didn't take it quite as seriously, the fight quite as seriously as he should have, and he nearly lost the fight because of that. He obviously learned it during the fight, where it's like, even his manager's like, dude, this guy, like, he's not gonna stop. He trained his ass off, because he didn't think of this as just a show for the people. It was like he's taking this fight seriously. So should you. And
right, and that's interesting parallel to the real world. It's it kind of reminded me of the whole like beef between Conor McGregor and Khabib, because a lot of times when Conor McGregor is like kind of bloviating and being braggadocious and bombastic, it's just him being a showman, and he's trying to he's trying to draw as much attention to the fight as possible. But Khabib, on the other hand, he takes fighting very seriously. He's practically a monk, and he takes every fight that he's a part of very seriously. Like he's going into battle, like literal battle. Like
right.
he sees the other opponent not just as an opponent but as his enemy. Right? Like, and he has to like hate him. And that's like a lot of where Conor and Khabib kind of rub each other the wrong way. Even though they do really hate each other. But it's just like for Conor, he can separate it. It's like, oh, I'm the showman. This is just from I'm just acting this way so I can get as many eyes on this fight as possible, so I can make as much money as possible. Whereas Khabib is like, this is a matter of honor, principle. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you my guts. I'm gonna show you what I'm made of, and and I'm gonna prevail because I am, I am, better than you. And and then in Rocky, that's what kind of was happening, because like Apollo thought this was just gonna be like some, exhibition fight, and it's like no real stakes. But for Rocky, this was like, this is my chance, and I'm gonna take it.
They say, I'm gonna go the distance. But I love Apollo Creed. I love the showmanship, just dickbaggery that he had. Now I will say though, I did love his entrance in Rocky IV better than in this one.
Right, with James Brown
James Brown coming to America, going it just it was great. But this one was pretty good too. He's got he's coming out like he's George Washington, and
crossing the Delaware. He's got Lady Liberty. And then after he gets into the ring, he transitions, and he puts on the spangled hat, and he becomes Uncle Sam.
I want you. Yes, it's great.
Yeah. I don't think Apollo gets as much characterization as the other characters, but I think it does. I think it does get rectified in Rocky 2, where we get a little bit more. We get a little bit more depth with Apollo.
Well, we get a lot more depth in him in the next 3 films, because he's in 2, 3, and 4.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and obviously, like that friendship that rivalry slash friendship
Well,
carries
it's like yeah,
through
it's
in the
the
next
rivalry that becomes
several.
a friendship. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, especially like in three, where he then trains Rocky. That's beautiful because I'm a sucker for training montages.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and that in and I think in Rocky 3 is one of the best training montages. And then also the greatest like kind of like theme songs too. Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean we'll get to Rocky 3 sometime down the line. Um,
We might do a Rocky month.
maybe we might. I mean we could. There's enough movies. Literally, I mean yeah, because they go all the way to Rocky Balboa. And I mean if we're not including like the Creed movies.
I wasn't thinking about doing the Creed films, but yeah, I mean those are technically part of the same. They're in the same universe.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's all I got to say about Rocky. Any final thoughts?
No, no, that those are my thoughts on the film. I think it's if you've not seen it, you got to rectify it. It's a good film. It's like I said, it's the most pure of heart of all the Rocky films, and I love it.
All right, time to give our rating. Why don't you start us off?
This is a 4 stars for me. I liked all the characters. They're all flawed in their own way, but you see a lot of character development as the movie progresses. Um, it's not about like, oh, I hate this character. Like, I just want and like you got to there's no like, no, it's not like even like a revenge story. It's not about there's no nothing like that. But it's about, like I said, it's kind of like the American dream, the American story. Coming from nothing, getting kind of the dumb luck. You get a chance and you take it and you go the distance. It's and all of a sudden you become something.
Okay. I'm gonna go against you a little bit, and I'm gonna give this a 3.5. Not to say I didn't
Okay.
enjoy it.
How dare you?
How dare you? Um, no. Yeah, just a 3.5. Just because I know this is like the initial movie out of the in the franchise, and I might be it might be overly harsh, compared slightly comparing it to the others, but um, yeah, I think there's like a few things that technically that could have been better, like a little bit better editing or and also like the part that you referenced, like when they reconcile. Maybe I missed it, but I don't remember them reconciling, which made it a little jarring for me to when when I see Rocky training in Mickey's gym, and then he comes over and is helping him. I don't know if that was like I don't know if that I missed it or maybe that was a weird editing thing, but I don't remember them like reconciling.
You didn't see that part of the film?
No, I mean I watched the film. I watched the part where he's like screaming and yelling at Mickey, but I just see Mickey leaving, but I don't see them like reconciling.
Because Rocky runs after him at the end of that as Mickey's like because you see him walking down the street and Rocky runs up after him and like he's like he like I said, you don't hear the dialogue, but he apologizes to Mickey, shakes his hand, puts his arm around him and it's like it's kind of the idea of let's do this, let's work together. Um
Oh,
I don't maybe I watched a different version than you. I don't know.
yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was just about. Just that's what I was just thinking. Is like maybe my version was different than yours. But yeah, I don't like. I mean, I was watching the movie and I don't remember a scene where like they reconcile in the manner that you just described.
And
Um,
that to me, like I said, I like that scene so much.
uh, Yeah, I guess I'll have to go back. I'm willing to amend and go to a 4, but for right now I'm gonna stick with it with a
Six,
three
three
and a
and a
half.
half. Okay.
So yeah, that's our review for Rocky. Highly recommended. Um, Robert gives it a 4. I give it a 3.5 with the potential to move it back up to a 4. But we'll see.